Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming or Battlefield-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that can be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. The first question for today comes from John, and it is, what do you think of the idea of being able to swap out a gadget like the M25 or UCAV for a dead player's gun, therefore gaining a primary weapon in your gadget slot? Well, when I first skimmed over your question, I assumed that you were looking for the option to give up one of your gadgets and then have the ability to pick between two primary weapons. And in that instance, I would say that this would be blatantly overpowered and never should be in the game. Like, if you had the ability to pick between an AEK and also have alongside a SAR-21 or a designated marksman rifle, like, that's just way too much killing potential at your fingertips. Like, you would be able to dominate the battlefield. You would have no weakness as long as you played it correctly and you knew when to switch between your weapons in the right situations, and you didn't get caught with your pants down, you know, if you were using a DMR and someone came up behind you. Like, you were just going to murder everyone on the battlefield. And I would argue that that combination would be way better than giving up one gadget. Like, I don't think that there's really any gadget in the game that's gonna give you that much an influence in Battlefield 4. Like, I just don't think that there is a gadget that would stand up to two primary weapons. But with your suggestion, now we're starting to get into a territory where I honestly wouldn't have much of a problem if it was added into the game. Because if you think about it, when you spawn in, you're at a disadvantage to everyone around you. You only have your primary and one gadget. So like the defibrillator or the med bag and your assault rifle. Everyone else is running around with a primary, a secondary if they get into a tight spot, and then two gadgets. And so the only way for you to maybe get a leg up on the competition is to kill an enemy, pick up his gun, and then see if it's actually gonna be any use. Because if you're running around with an AEK and you pick up a CZ3A1, while yes, it's gonna give you some advantages, like there might be a couple situations that might arise where, you know, two guys round the corner, you take them out, another two guys round the corner, you're switching over to the CZ3A1 and you're able to mow them down. It's still gonna give you an advantage, but it's not like the clear advantage that we talked about when you get to choose between your two primary weapons. Not only that, but it's also gonna just leave you incredibly exposed when you run out in the open, seeking other kits off of the ground so that you're not at a disadvantage to everyone else. I did a challenge where I could never reload my weapons. So as soon as I ran out of my rounds in my primary, I had to switch on over to my secondary. And as soon as I ran out of my secondary weapon, I was pretty much out of luck at that point, and I had to go find another kit just lying around on the ground. And I noticed very quickly with that challenge, it was not easy to stay alive. Like, if you run out in the open for just a couple of seconds in this game, as long as you're going against players that are competent, they're gonna take advantage of that and they're just gonna mow you down. And so while, yes, you will have those moments where you get that perfect combination of primary weapons. You have your high rate of fire alongside a sniper rifle, and potentially you can then kill everyone that you come across. But as soon as you die, as soon as you're back at the spawn screen, you're starting over. You lose your advantage, you no longer have that perfect combination, and you're gonna have to start from scratch. And so because of this, and because it comes along with so many negatives, I don't think that it would really detract from the game. It would give people a different way of playing or a different play style if they want to have two primary weapons, if they want to run the risk. And while we probably have to test it out on the CTE servers just to make sure that it's not blatantly overpowered and it doesn't give classes a clear advantage over others, I think that this could be a very interesting addition into the game. The next question for today is, what is your opinion on Shadows of Mordor? It looks amazing and I think it will be a lot of fun. I am loving the fact that this game is getting amazing reviews right now. I think IGN gave it a 9.3, other websites are giving it a 5 out of 5, like a perfect score for a Lord of the Rings game. And while I'm not a huge fanatic, I can't speak or read Elvish by any means, but I just love that universe. I read all the books, I still get nerd chills every single time I watch those movies, and so the fact that there could be potentially an amazing Lord of the Ring game coming out, that fills me with joy. What I cannot wait to get my hands on, though, with this title is the Nemesis system. The way that they described it is that everything you do in this game, every action that you take from who you kill or who you influence is going to change the way that the story progresses and how everyone else interacts with you. That is next gen to me. That is why I'm excited for Dragon Age Inquisition. A little hesitant about that title because of Dragon Age 2. That's the reason why I'm really excited about Witcher 3, because I love that concept. Not only that, but the gameplay just looks fun. It's got that Arkham style type of combat, but with swords, and you're chopping people's heads off. God, I can't wait. I'm crossing my fingers that the reviews are correct and that it just knocks it out of the park. The next question for today is, what do you think about the damage model in Battlefield? I feel that sometimes it takes ages to kill my enemy, therefore I have less a chance to quickly deal with the second target. It's a little ironic that you say this, because right now on the CTE, if you're not aware, and probably here in the next couple of days, DICE is actually going to be reducing the damage of a lot of the weapons in Battlefield 4, going from 25 damage per shot down to 20 within close encounter combat. And the result of this, of course, is that it's going to take you longer to kill people in those engagements. DICE has the reasoning. They said because of the netcode improvements, it's actually about the same, or it's going to feel about the same right now what we have in the vanilla version of the game, but also just really opens up a really fun discussion on what it means to have longer time to kills or faster time to kills. If you look at games like Call of Duty that have a very fast time to kill, which is what it looks like you're describing and what you're looking for, in those games, you go against 4 or 5 people, as long as you are really good at that twitch shooter mechanics and as long as your accuracy is solid, you can kill those 4 or 5 people with one magazine. This is one of the reasons why those games are so popular, because you get that amazing flank off and you're at least somewhat decent with your shots, you can go on these incredibly fun kill streaks. Then when you move on over into games like Destiny, Loadout, I would even say tank battles in Battlefield 4 fit under this category, where you have a very large health pool and you have to put a lot of rounds in your enemy to take it down. It's still skill-based, there's still plenty of skill involved in there, but it's more about being consistent with all of your shots, and there's actually more of an emphasis on teamwork. If you're playing a game like Destiny, or you're in a tank battle in Battlefield 4, as soon as it becomes a 2 versus 1 firefight, the odds are no longer in your favor. You might be able to kill the first player if it was a 1 versus 1 to start off with, and the second guy kind of scooted in at the end, but trying to come out of that firefight alive isn't going to be an easy task. You probably went through most of your rounds to finish off the first guy because of that larger health pool, and then to finish off the second guy, you need to be very consistent with your shots. You need to land a lot of headshots to take him out, and he probably has to have a lot of mistakes on his end. And so because of this, as soon as you are working together with your teammates and you are focus firing people down, or you're just moving together and not being a lone wolf, you're going to have a clear advantage over your enemy simply because they can't just instantly take you out like in a games like Call of Duty. I would say that Battlefield is more in the center of those games, at least for the infantry combat. And it really comes down to the developers, what they're looking for. Do they want to have that more twitch shooter type of gameplay like you see in Call of Duty or Insurgency? Do they want to have those longer sustained fights where it requires a lot more skill for just being accurate or consistent with your shots? Or do they want something more in between like what we have with Battlefield? And so my recommendation to you is to simply play on hardcore mode. You can have those incredible moments where you're killing people back to back with one magazine. You can kill 4 or 5 people if you're using an assault rifle, and that seems to be more up your alley. The next question comes from Casey, and it is, what's your opinion on Bungie having you buy a DLC for $20 in order for you to progress through the story in Destiny? Well, there isn't anything inherently wrong with a story DLC. Like, if a developer wants to expand upon their storyline, or they want to have a different arc with some characters that they think are going to be really interesting, then go for it. The problem I have with Destiny, though, and I'm assuming this is a problem that a lot of people have with the story, is that there isn't a story. Like, it's non-existent. There are no interesting characters, there's no character development, there's hardly a plot. The setting is fantastic. They've done a phenomenal job at setting the stage for an epic story, but it's just not there. And so if the upcoming paid DLC starts to explain what the hell is going on and starts to develop a story, while on the one hand I'm excited because I do want to know what's going on, I think that there's a lot of potential there. On the other hand, I'm like, why wasn't this in the main game? Why are you requiring me to spend money to know what is going on in this universe and to develop more of the story? That right there feels more like a cash grab. That feels like they took content away that should have been in the main game and put it in paid DLC, knowing that people were gonna want to know what's going on and we're gonna get more money out of it. That is gonna rub me the wrong way. And so Bungie has put themselves in a pretty pickle. On the one hand, everyone wants to know more about this universe. They want to have a story develop here, but if it comes in the form of paid DLC, it's gonna piss a lot of people off. Like, why wasn't this in the main game? Why wasn't this a part of the package that we got at release? Who knows? Maybe they're gonna give us a lot of free content that expands upon the story. That would be incredible. That would be the best way to go about it, in my opinion. It would not be a slap in the face of the community, but it's kind of hard to say if that is really the direction that Bungie is going to take. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's Sunday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Once again, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below or by sending me a Facebook and Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.